Hey everybody! So today we're going to do some more talking about the Galactic Center. First, the disclaimer, I am not a Galactic Center expert. I am literally just fucking with astrology here as I'm tossing some ideas, some theories around. I have a lot of astrological knowledge, but the Galactic Center in terms of the natal chart and in terms of using it in astrology is more of a mystery to me waiting to be solved. So everything I'm tossing out here, really just theories, just ideas to play around with. I am not claiming that I am right at all. So, and I reserve the right for this to be wrong later on if I don't, so nobody can come back and be like, well, you said this. No. I'm saying right here, right now, that I don't know if I'm right about this. These are just some theories, just some ideas that I'm tossing out. Another disclaimer, because of what we're going to be talking about today in relation to the Galactic Center. Okay, so I've already talked about whistleblowers in the Galactic Center, the notion of whistleblowers, and well-known whistleblowers having Galactic Center contacts, conjunctions, Jupiter retrograde, trines to the GC, oppositions to the GC, or conjunct the Galactic Anti-Center. So today we're going to talk some about people who are truth-seeking. They are seeking their own truth, trying to expose things, which in and of itself is very Galactic Century. I mean, it is. Understanding, exposing, all of those things feel very, seeking truth. It's all very Galactic Center-like. Now, the people that I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk about 3 people. They're all rather controversial. I am in no way saying that I agree with all of these people with all the things that they've done or said, because I don't. So I want to make that really clear that I'm not like a champion for these people, okay? But they do kind of fit the notion of truth-seeking, whatever that truth is, truth-seeking, understanding, and exposing. They do fit this, right? They do. And let's also talk for a second about what truth is. There are a lot, universally, I think we'd like to think that there are some things that are universally true. I don't think that's often the case. There are things that are universally true to most people, but maybe not all people. Truth really is kind of in the eye of the beholder. It is. So, I mean, it really is. Nobody really wants to think about that. That's kind of an uncomfortable thing to think about. It really kind of is. But I don't think there's a lot that's universally true. The older I get, the more I find this to be the case. When I was younger, I had a much more black and white view of the world, I guess, when I was much younger. But as I've gotten older, we live in shades of gray. And that's oftentimes, it seems like kind of where the truth is, too. And that's kind of what I mean as far as there's actual universal truth is hard to come by. So keep that in mind, too, as I'm talking about this. But as I'm talking about these people. But I want to bring these people up. They are people that have ties to the conspiracy community. Trying to expose things, understand things, shed light on things, seeking their truth, whatever that might be. And all of that, and in a way, there's also something kind of whistleblowery about this as well. There is the exposing. Now, do we know if what these people have exposed is actually true? I don't know. But there is something whistleblowery like about these people too, in a way. But again, want to make it clear, I'm not saying that I agree with these people. I am not saying that I agree with what these people have done or said. Just want to make that real clear off the bat, so nobody comes for me about any of this. Okay, so to start, we're going to talk about Alex Jones. Here is his natal chart. He does not have a time of birth on file, so I just set it to noon. He has the North Node conjunct the Galactic Center. He has Saturn and the South Node conjunct the Galactic Anticenter. He does not have Jupiter retrograde, but he does have Chiron trine the Galactic Center. So, okay. So Alex Jones, in case you aren't familiar, he is known for being a conspiracy theorist. He's done some exposing and some questioning. He exposed Bohemian Grove. He was one of the first, it seemed like one of the first people to really question 9/11, how 9/11 happened, why it happened, which, let's be honest, that deserves questioning, still does. There are a lot of things that don't make sense about that. There really are. I know I still have some fucking questions about it. I know I'm not alone. So he's done things like this, but then he, goes on tangents about gay frogs and men with mustaches, which, by the way, is probably one of the funniest videos on the internet. Truly, it's hilarious. And, he's also, he got himself into some really hot water, rightfully so, for making comments about the Sandy Hook shooting and how people were that nobody really died. There were crisis actors, but, rightfully so. Those were atrocious. That was an atrocious thing for him to, even, I don't know, maybe he had questions about that, but I don't know. When there's the possibility that somebody's child may have really died, I don't think that's really the time or the place to ask those kind of questions, the way that he asked them. So rightfully so, people were pissed about that. Rightfully so. But, and he's pretty much been like canceled everywhere at this point. For the most part. But I wanted to use him because he does have these Galactic Center contacts, right? He has his North Node there. And he has his, so he is he's not coming from a place of understanding the Galactic Center, but that is like part of his mission, to embrace it, to understand it. Per the North Node mission, it seems like it's part of his mission. Anyway, now he doesn't have Jupiter retrograde, and I know I've mentioned before in other videos, in the other video and the blog post about the whistleblowers, that I do think that the Galactic Center, a planet or something conjunct the Galactic Center, Jupiter retrograde, and Jupiter retrograde kind of function as a protection, as a protective element for the person. And that the trine, from the GC to whatever planet or whatever is there that's trine, is a way for it to come down, for them to bring their truth or whatever down to earth. So he is lacking, he doesn't have Jupiter retrograde. He is lacking that piece of the protective element. Now, obviously, he's not dead. Nothing has happened to him like that. But he has been pretty much canceled everywhere. He has been. Which feels like he is lacking that ability to safely, like he has the Chiron there, which by the way feels like it would be painful to bring truth down to, like there's a trine, so it's harmonious, but because we're talking about Chiron, there is pain, there's something painful about it. So he's bringing this shit down to earth, right, from the GC, but and he's able to do this because of the trine, but the protection is lacking, which could be why he's had I mean, he's been on the air for a long time, but he's had a lot of people against him. And yeah, finally, like, canceled. So he does seem to, he lacks that protective element. I guess when I say protective element, this could be like actual protection, like from life, life protection from death, or, just protection in general life and being able to do what you want to do, kind of thing. Okay, so on to the next one. Now we're going to talk about Trump, because like, I don't like, I'll be honest, like, I'm not a Trump fan. In so many ways, I am not. But and I do think that his version of the truth is screwy. Okay, I think his version of the truth is screwy. I feel like it's screwy. But I do think that he tried to expose things, he just didn't do it right, or it was too politically motivated to have been done right. Like if he was honestly, like, I look at his chart, if he was just like a conspiracy theorist like Alex Jones, honestly, he probably would be better at this. But the political end, the politics of it, and the seem to get in the way. That's just kind of my opinion on it. Let me show you his chart. What I'm talking about. Okay, so here's his chart. We do have a time of birth for him. We have the moon and the South Node conjunct the Galactic Center. We have the Sun and the North Node and Uranus opposite the Galactic Center. And we have Mars trine the Galactic Center. And he has Jupiter retrograde. Now, he has all of, they call him Teflon Don. It's a good name for him, because I really don't think any charges will really stick to him. I really don't. I think this fucker's protected. I think he is. If I'm just being honest, I think he's protected. And I'll be curious to see if I eat my words on that. But I think he's protected. He has the conjunction of the Galactic Center. He has the trine. He has Jupiter retrograde. I think he is protected by this. I think he will be able to do what he wants to do, or expose what he wants to expose. And he will be rather protected in this way. I really do. I'll be curious to see if any charges actually stick to him. Because looking at his chart, and from this kind of angle, I don't think they will. Which is kind of annoying in so many ways. I forgot to mention with Alex Jones, like with Trump, they have the opposition to the Galactic Center. Both of these people are incredibly polarizing. All right, this backs up what I've said before about the oppositions to the GC adding like a polarization element to the person. I know that sounds kind of stupid because they're opposite one another. Obviously, there's a polarity there, but this seems to the oppositions to the GC seem to really polarize the individual. They make them very, very, very polarizing. both Alex Jones and Donald Trump are that way. People either really love them or really hate them. They're both that way. Now, I will say this about Trump, you know, and like I said, like, I feel like he tried to expose stuff, but it was weird the way he did it, or it was too politically motivated. Like, okay, when he went on about fake news, I don't think he was on the wrong track about that, personally. I think a lot of our media is fucking fake. They know how to pander to their base, because let's be honest, different news stations are more aligned, right or left. They are. A majority of them are. I know people want to say, no, they're not. Yeah, they are. Let's get real here. Yeah, they are. MSNBC is more liberal. Fox is more conservative. Let's get real. They are. It shouldn't be that way, but that's how it is. Now, there are very few news channels that I can think of where some fucking bias doesn't creep in. And to be honest, I find both biases irritating. I just want my fucking news, and I want my news unbiased. I don't give a shit what anybody's opinion is. I don't give a shit what your agenda is. I just want the fucking news. It can be bland, it can be boring, it's news. Just tell it to me. I don't need your opinion. But, you know, so when he went on about fake news, he wasn't wrong, but he was wrong when he didn't call out the other side. He just called out MSNBC and the other more liberal stations. He should have been calling Fox's ass out too, and all those other fucking conservative stations. If he had done that, I could have gotten on board with that part of what he was doing. Now, he did a lot of other bullshit that I could never have got on board with, right? Because he did some atrocious things too. But that one particular thing, I feel like he was trying to expose something, but it was just too politically motivated. He should have been calling both sides out. He should have been calling both sides out. And I could have gotten on board with that one particular thing about him. What I will say he did, though, and maybe this was the whole purpose, is he made people on both sides of the aisle start questioning things. He did. I think he was a catalyst for that. For better or worse, he did make people question things. And I think that has been a long time coming and should have happened a long time ago in this country, in the US. There are a lot of things that need to be questioned, and I do think that he was kind of a catalyst to get people questioning things. Now, some of the things people questioned, like I mentioned the QAnon stuff, and that's stupid. But other things, there were things that I think he did bring to attention that caused people that maybe wouldn't normally have questioned things to question things. So I will say that about him, even if I disagree with a lot of what he questioned. He did cause people to question things. Now, the last person I'm going to talk about, because this video got really long, is Bill Cooper. He wrote Beyond a Pale Horse, which talked about a lot of different conspiracy theories and things like that. Now, he doesn't have anything conjunct the Galactic Center. He does have Venus opposite the Galactic Center. And he has the North Node and Chiron trine the GC. And I have a good time of birth for him. His rising is also trine the GC. Not only that, his rising is in Taurus. His rising is Taurus, so that makes Venus his chart ruler, and Venus is what is opposing the GC, or conjunct the Galactic Anti-Center. So that feels even more charged, since we're dealing with the planet involved with the trine. Okay, he doesn't have Jupiter retrograde, so he's lacking the Galactic Center conjunction, and he's lacking the Jupiter retrograde, which I do feel like adds a protective element for the person. I feel like both of those do. Now, but he has what can translate it down to Earth, the trines. Now, he died the way he died is not disputed. He died from a gunshot wound. It was during a shootout with some cops. What is disputed is the backstory as to why this happened in the first place. He had a warrant out for his arrest on tax evasion charges. He claimed those were not accurate. He claimed that he was being targeted because he was a conspiracy theorist who wrote this book exposing a lot of these different things. Very well could be true. It wouldn't surprise me if it was. I don't know though if it is or not. Then but what's even weirder, and this part I'm a little fuzzier on, the sheriff's department that came out to his house wasn't actually coming to execute that warrant, but they were coming to execute a warrant on an aggravated assault charge that supposedly happened with some resident of the town that he lived in. I don't know how true that is either. That seems to be kind of disputed. Either way, a shootout happened and he ended up dying, and he took one of the sheriff's deputies down with him. So there are a lot of questions surrounding exactly how he died, or exactly not how he died, but the reason behind why he died, why they were ever there in the first place. I mean, could he have just been like paranoid? Maybe, I don't know. It's always possible, probably, who knows? Could he have actually been targeted because of what he wrote? Yeah, I could see that being the case too. So yeah, he lacks that protection. So it doesn't really surprise me that he's not alive today, or if he were still alive, I don't think that he would really, he might be like Jones and kind of be canceled or not really be taken seriously or what have you. Anyway, this video got really long, so I'm going to get going. I will link the blog post. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can just click the link. If you're watching it on Instagram, you'll have to copy and paste it because Instagram's fucking weird about links. But if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us at Let's Fuck with Astrology. I am at Saturn Season Astrology on Instagram. Natalie is at Eternal Astrology on Instagram. If you want to subscribe to us on YouTube, you can find us at Let's Fuck with Astrology. If you do the Reddit thing, come join us on the subreddit Let's Fuck with Astrology. And if you're interested in the star cards, go to letsfuckwithastrology.com/star-cards. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later.